How many months has it been now?
You know what? I believe it's been a couple days over 4 months. Yeah, it's been quite a ride for the last 4 months.
Was there any honeymoon, or did they go straight into hard work and changes?
I'll tell you honestly, we signed the deal and had a fight within 3 weeks, I think, or 4 weeks. So there was no honeymoon or dating. It was like going right to business. And, we did the first show in Pachanga, and then we are on our 8-week run for the weekly show. And then all leading to the season finale, which is November 15th, here at the Valley View Casino Center Arena.
Now, that's going to be a Saturday show, right?
Yes, that's the Saturday show, November 15th.
Can you talk about why, what's the difference? This seems like a bigger show. What's the difference between like the big shows and I guess regular?
Yeah, we're going to do, starting next year, we're going to do once a month big championship fights on a Friday night. And then 4 times a year, we're going to do, we call it 10-pole events, which all of our big stars will fight. So you'll come to a show, no, it won't just be one big fight. It'll be 5 fights or 4 fights, top to bottom. It'll be on Saturday night, and we'll do 4 of those next year.
Are you guys still in the pay-per-view business?
Yeah, I think that we're going to take a step back. And, I told Kevin, I said, look, as you guys know, I think we're very good at, building the fighters from the ground up. We'll buy some when the free agency market starts heating up a little bit. But we're going to take a step back, and why not build these fighters that we're going to promote in front of 100 million households, and then re-enter the pay-per-view business when it's time. Because right now, to go in and out of the pay-per-view business, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not good for anybody. I think that when we re-enter the pay-per-view business, we'll be committed 3-4 fights a year, and we'll be 100% in.
As a promoter or businessman, why leave the weekly show?
You know what? To be honest, it's when I looked at the fight roster, right? It's very hard to have a weekly show, to have relevant fights at the highest level. That's really the reason was that we need to put on monthly shows. I'd rather put on monthly shows, top to bottom, or great fight cards, than to have weekly shows that are, a little bit some good, some bad. To me, it was a no-brainer. And next year you'll see a much, more polished product in the cage, and you'll see, like you're seeing here on the 15th, you'll see Tito and Stephan, Melvin's going to fight, King Mo's going to fight, kind of like we saw our September 5th card. The very first show we did, the Mohegan Sun, under my regime, it's like kind of a top-to-bottom, very big fight card. And that's what our goal is to provide that once a month, and then 4 times a year, just the big 10-pole events.
Your main event, Tito versus Stephan, how did this happen? Who made the first call? Was there a text like, hey, I want to fight this guy? Or like...
You know what? I was just coming into the company at the time, and Stephan's manager kept calling me saying, we want to come in and join Bellator and fight. And so we were talking, and I said, we'll take a look at it, let's think about it. And then I didn't realize the heat between those 2 athletes. And once somebody informed me about this is going to be a really heated fight, they really don't like each other. And what you saw at the Mohegan Sun, that was not fake. That was, there's some real heated emotion there. People said, oh, you guys planned it, it's like WWE. No, this is just, how he chooses to express himself. And Tito was upset. I mean, after the fight, after the situation in the cage, Tito came out of the cage. I could see he was visibly shaken for about 20 minutes, and then he left. Didn't stay to the end of the fight. But when I realized that there's a story here, and we could paint a great picture of what that story, will become, and which is the fight, And so at the end of the day, we were able to get these 2 guys together. They had the big face-off, some great shoulder programming, and now we're getting close to the fight. So, we're here doing, all the interviews, and I think November 15th we're gonna have an epic battle. And I told some people, I said, look, as much as they go in, have this banter, at the end of the day, they got to fight. So November 15th, they're going to enter the cage. We're going to lock the door, and they're going to get it on.
maybe more as a fan than a promoter, how important is it? How important is the story to you to a fight? Because I feel like maybe I might be answering this for you, but in a weekly series, it's hard to build that story.
That's right. That's right.
Can you talk about?
Yeah, I agree with you because in the weekly format, you're basically a tournament format, and the tournaments kind of overlap. And the problem with the tournaments for me was, look, we did them. We did them for a long time, working for K1, the heavyweight Grand Prix that we did. And I think there is a place for them, but you need the right athletes, the right timing. And I just didn't feel like the big fights that could happen were happening inside the company. So we took a step back. We said, look, we're going to make the big fights that should happen in this company happen. And that's going to be the format moving forward. And so in a weekly format, as you said, it's hard to do that. It's hard to have those fights happen.
Was this? Were there big discussions or debates with you and Viacom or you and Spike to change this format? Or was it hey, Scott's the man, we're gonna do what he says?
You know what? I mean, they've been very supportive, but I always run ideas that we have by them. I said, look, this is what has worked for me before, and we had a quick conversation. They're all in, and here we go.
Let's talk about the in-cage skirmish.
Yeah.
Where were you at that time? Were you cage side? Were you in the cage? I'm not sure.
I was the one that was in there, and I thought, okay, listen, I think what people don't know is I actually talked to both of them before I entered the cage. And I remember walking by Stephan Bonnar, and I'm going, who's this guy with the mask? Right? I didn't know it was Justin McCulley, right? So I'm like, hey, I thought he was here for like to support Bobby Lashley or like Japanese pro wrestling or something. And so I go into the cage, we talk about the fights, and I said, look, guys, don't before we went in, I said, don't touch each other. We're gonna get fined. You're gonna get fined. It's not gonna be good for everybody. And then he grabbed the mic, and then the rest is history.
When you were watching that, were you like, was it in slow motion, or were you like?
Oh no, it wasn't slow motion. All I remember was, I remember just kind of holding on. I think I was holding on to Tito, and then just like spit flying by my head. I'm like, oh, jeez, I hope this is heavy. But it was definitely some real emotion in there.
But then no one got hurt. So
yeah, no one got hurt. No harm, no foul.
Yeah. How did do you guys have a relationship with Glory? 'Cause I know you have Joe Schilling fighting on this card. Yeah. How did that work out?
Yeah, we have a great relationship with Glory. Pierre's a good friend. I know they just brought on John Franklin, which I'm meeting, and it seems like a really nice guy. I just thought, hey, Melvin and Joe Schilling could be the best action of the night. I mean, that's going to be an amazing fight. So why don't we do it? Why don't we just put them in an MMA cage and see what happens? And then, hey, if one person isn't happy with the outcome, which they probably won't be, maybe they can go back to Glory and they can fight it out over there in the kickboxing rules. So why not? Why not do it?
As an old kickboxing guy, is that kind of secretly maybe your favorite fight? Just as a fan, or?
I can't say. I mean, it's going to be action-packed. I think we got 5 fantastic fights for television. And you know what, guys? The beauty of this thing is, look, you could tune in Saturday night, November 15th, 9 p.m., 6 p.m. here, and you can watch these fights for free on Spike TV.
Lastly, how's everything been? I mean, just vacation, going right back into it. How's your life been? Is it?
You know what? I'd say honestly, it's been a lot of work, but there's no place I'd rather be than right here building this company with Spike TV and Viacom. I think that with the skill set I have and the relationships that we have, I think we could take this company a long way. And I'm ready. I'm down for it. So I'm ready to work hard.